Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
After a while, everyone was situated for the war to begin and were broken up into teams. With Naruto and Mai's team, they had a dozen people with a random Jonin in charge of them. And with Mei, she had only a half a dozen of the best ninja the rebels had, seeing as their target was the cage directly. When everyone was ready to leave, Mei began her speech. Okay, now we have gone a long way so far, and now it is finally time for us to finish this. Let us attack with all of our strength, and we can't lose. So come on, let us begin so we can claim our victory. Mei said to her group, then heard them all cheer. And with that, they all went as a group to the village, then split up to do each of their separate missions. Plus Naruto and his group, plus Naruto and everyone else in the group entered the ninja school, surprising all of the people inside of it. Okay people, this area is now under the rebel army. Anyone who disagrees with us, come forward to die. One of the Chunin yelled out into the building. Course most were unsure what to do because they didn't like their cage much, but they didn't really think the rebels would win, so they just pretended that it was a normal day and ignored the group. Though a few teachers and watchers did come at the group, though they were quickly brought down by the team. And all is set here, man, that was easy. Mai said happily until they saw that ninja surrounded the school. Yay, but keeping it is the hard part, Naruto said, and then they all went into battle, the opponents. Plus Mai and her team, plus Mai and the rest of their group ran through town, avoiding as much of the battles as they could until they finally entered the cage tower, which had a few of his guard. Crap, leave them to me, just keep going, half of Mei's team yelled out, then started to attack. With that, all the rest ran past the battle and started heading up to the top of the tower. Course they had to dodge a few traps, but finally they entered the cage's room. The cage was known as Yagura, who appeared to be about 30, male with a young, childlike face and body structure. He also had a head of messy, light gray hair, pink pupilless eyes, and what seems to be a stitch-like scar running from under his left eye, all the way down his cheek. He was small in stature and wears a gray, sleeveless shirt with the Karigakure forehead protector attached to the front, short-sleeved mesh armor, over which he also wears a green poncho along with a turquoise sash around his waist, paired with a green apron over his pants. He wears a pair of brown boots, and on his back he carries a staff-like pole weapon with uneven-sized hooks with a green flower on the larger end. Who was in a dark room with several ponds of water all around and an extravagant desk. Not going to put a description, just think of it as a fancy desk you could only buy when you had a lot of money to burn. This person description brought to you by the Naruto wiki. So, these are the rebels that have been pestering me. Well, thank you for coming, so now I can kill all of you at one time. He yelled and then attacked the group, leaking a demonic amount of killer intent. This will be key from now on. Then they began their fight as well. Plus Naruto was fighting two people wielding two kunai, with his team fighting all around him. Which was useful, seeing as one of the people died to a random kunai flying through the air, while the other was killed by rubble falling. So, Naruto quickly moved to his next enemy and continued doing this until he finally was held back by a Jonin that went through some quick hand signs and then screamed out, Sweden. Teppadama, water release. Gunshot, then shot a blast of water directly at Naruto at high speeds. Who just barely dogged it. Damn, this guy won't be easy, Naruto thought, and then began in a large kenjutsu battle with the Jonin. Plus Mai was breathing pretty hard after fighting her 10th person. Damn, I am exhausted already. I mean, I might be around Chunin level, but expecting me to fight so many ninja is ridiculous. I mean, really, how am I supposed to kill them when most of them are stronger than me? Mai complained, but still took a few solider pills and got back into the match. And ended up fighting a female Chunin that was rushing to their group. Come on, let's see how well you can fight, demon, the Chunin spat out at Mai. Well, you will see soon enough, Mai said with a smirk, then quickly screamed out, lava release, lava globs, and tried to melt the kunoichi. And with that they began their match. plus whole village plus. Altogether the village and rebels were about even with neither side gaining much ground. For while the village had more ninja, most of them wanted to rebel as well, and the fact the rebels have nothing to lose. So, really they were all waiting for the cage's battle to end to determine the winner. So, basically the whole war would be based upon the victor between the head of each groups. Plus. Mai and her opponent were pretty evenly matched with neither side getting too much damage. Though eventually the pure taijutsu fight changed when Mai's enemy screamed out water release, water whip, and had a strip of water form starting from two of their fingers. They then slashed at Mai and watched happily as it went straight through her neck, decapitating her. Too easy, she said a bit cockily, until she saw the dead body poof away into white smoke and heard someone jump right behind her and was about to turn around until she felt a kunai pierce straight through her heart, killing her instantly. Thank Kami, Naruto taught me that, thought a sweating Mai as she stood over her now dead enemy. Plus Mei and group plus. Mei was having a tough time with Yagura. Seeing as he was a Jinchuriki, he had insane stamina and chakra. Not to mention all the jutsus, he knew he was an opponent who seemed nearly impossible to beat. Though that didn't stop them all from trying. So, they fought as hard as they could, but eventually they found themselves pinned down behind several stone walls they made using a jutsu. Crap, what are we going to do? One of Mei's protectors asked Mei. He does have a good point. I mean, there is not enough of us to face a Jinchuriki. Though we have two. We are all that can be spared from the other areas. So what are we going to do? Wait, that might just work. My thought then began to tell her team the plan. Plus Naruto's battle plus. Naruto and the Jonin were in a major kenjutsu battle with both sides bleeding from minor cuts on their bodies. Hey, kid, you're pretty good, the Jonin said with a sadistic smile. You too, Naruto tells him. Wish I didn't have to kill you, but you are in our way, so see you in hell, he said happily, then threw out 4 explosive notes at Naruto's feet. Boom. And the kid is done, the Jonin said with a evil smile. Wait, what? How? No, that is impossible, the Jonin said in total disbelief of what he saw. In the middle of the fire was a boy with his robe with not a bit of ash on them. His skin wasn't black at all but seemed to be steaming. Course the thing that scared him the most was the boy's eyes that seemed to change from the blue they were to something much more dangerous looking. Immediately, even with all the training he received, he cringed back in fear. What kind of demon is he? He walks out of the fire completely unharmed with power radiating off of him. This is not good. He couldn't help but think in his mental breakdown. While he was in his breakdown, he didn't notice the boy come up to him and quickly stab him between the ribs, hitting the heart for a quick death. Dang, I gotta be more careful. He nearly killed me, Naruto thought as he looked down at his hardest opponent yet. Plus how Naruto did it plus. When Naruto sees that there are explosives around him, he quickly did a jutsu that he borrowed from his mother before he left. As he did, he quickly whispers out water armor. Plus, just to make sure, he uses his bloodline to push all of the explosion away from him slightly, reducing the damage he would have got down to the complete destruction of his water armor and some slight burns on his skin. And thankfully his clothing had repair seals on them which kept them from burning up. Naruto was happy with his win and was catching his breath until he saw something land in the leaking key in a massive quantity. Plus Mei and her group got prepared for their plan. Each of her guards went to a different side of Yagura, forming a triangle around him. Then they started to do a bunch of complex hand signs, all perfectly in time with each other. What are you fools doing? You think I will let you complete any jutsu you are trying to do? Well, think again, Yagura yelled out, then tried to attack the one in front of him. But before he could move more than a few feet, he heard Mei yell out, lava release, obsidian coffin. Then she covered him in a quickly cooling lava ball that burnt him until it cooled into hard obsidian that completely covered Yagura, leaving only his face out of it. I think you will be letting us finish. So, how about you just sit there and let us finish? Mei tells him with a falsely sweet voice. Course Yagura wasn't happy with being captured and slowly began to break free from his confinement. Soon enough cracks began to appear on the outside of the rock. May we still need time. We are only halfway through the seals now. Please keep him from moving for a bit longer. One of May's group called out to her while still doing hand signs. I know, but he is too strong. I don't know how much longer I can keep the cage around him, May told him while sweating from the exertion of holding the now crumbling rock together with pure chakra. Though she was losing chakra fast. Eventually the strain became too much and May couldn't hold the stone anymore and it quickly crumbled, releasing an angry Yagura. Bastards, die already! Yagura yelled out in complete rage, then charged at the man in front of him, who was freaking out because he couldn't move still due to the fact he was still doing the group jutsu. He was about to die with Yagura getting closer and closer. Water release. Destroying water's capture zone was heard finally, and just in front of all of May's companions a wall of dense water was formed into walls, making a cube around Yagura except for half of his right arm, which held a kunai mere inches from the man he was attacking. Course he was forced to pull his arm back when he felt the waters start to eat into his flesh. Though the man that he attacked was still completely terrified and fell to the ground shaking in fear of the fact that he was mere seconds from death there. It is over, Yagura, this is your end. You know that this is the Hidden Mist Village's ultimate capturing jutsu. It can't be broken by anything, nor can you go through it, or its pH level will destroy everything you are. The only thing you can do is wait for it to kill you as it closes in on you. Goodbye, you worthless corrupt cage. May said, and with that all the rebels present began to will the waters to shrink down, making the cube smaller. None of them felt any regret as they saw the soon-to-be dissolved ninja look around in utter shock. Meanwhile the cage in the cube had many things going on in his mind as he saw the cold eyes of his enemies look down upon him in his final moments of life. No, this can't be happening. I was meant to rule the world and finally rid it of all of the evil bloodline users. Why do they stop me? Don't they know that those demons will just kill all you care about, just like they killed my life by sealing a biju inside of me? No, I must stop all bloodline users from living. I must have my revenge. Biju, give me your power, I must win. Yagura yelled out into his mind only to hear a deep laugh come through his mind. You foolish mortal, you are just as weak as all the others. Why should I help you when I can now free myself? You see, the sealer that put me inside of you only made it so I was held back by your mind. So, as long as it was strong I couldn't break free. But, now that you are weaker and these fools just wrecked your sense of power, just weakened the seal enough for me to completely free myself. I can finally squash all of you pathetic mortals like the bugs you are. The demonic turtle screamed out, then destroyed the seal and leaked all of his chakra out, completely taking over Yagura, which destroyed his very mind and soul, leaving only his body, which was quickly being morphed back into the turtle's likeness. Finally, thanks to you pathetic humans, I am free to do what I want again. Now as your reward I will make sure you are the first humans I kill, the biju told May and her group, scaring them with the amount of ki he was leaking out. Then using all of his force he completely destroyed the water walls by evaporating it with the amount of demonic energy he was using. Then quickly destroyed the room they were in with a loud boom and jumped into the nearby lake, whereby molding the molecules around him he quickly built himself a new body and prepared to destroy the very village that trapped him once and for all. Plus village is a whole plus. Every ninja was still fighting until they heard a giant explosion coming from the cage tower, making them shiver at the ki that came from the hole. Then they saw something that they wish they never did. A humanoid figure leaking ki and blood-red chakra leapt out of the room and landed into the lake. Then after a large burst of that chakra came the thing that they all feared. The three-tailed turtle biju standing in the river with all of its ki filling the air around the village. They were about to die and they all knew it. So, they decided that if they were, they would die trying. So, with that in mind they all ran up to the lake and prepare for what could be their final battle. Plus lake plus. Everyone, rebel and loyalist alike, were at the lake looking at the turtle in front of them with fear evident in their eyes. Soon Naruto and Mai saw Mei run up to the lake as well and quickly ran to her as all the ninja began to fight the beast. Sis, what happened? I thought you were supposed to beat him in the cage tower, Mai asked. We did, but that brought out the Biju, allowing it to come out of the seal and attack the world again. Now the only thing we can do is figure some way to beat it, like another seal. Mei said. Then they both turned to Naruto with a questioning look. Yeah, I think I could beef up my evil containment seal enough to capture him. I just need two things which are both hard to get. Time and a living human body to seal the beast into. Naruto said with sadness evident in his voice. What, you need a human? No, there must be another way. Please tell me you're joking. Mai said, making Naruto just look down even more in sadness. I am sorry, Mai-chan, it is the only way. Naruto mumbled out, barely hearable. Fine, if that is what it takes, we can't change it. We don't have another plan. The only problem is how are we going to pick which person will become the Jinchuriki? Mei said, and then they all thought about it for a bit and couldn't think of any way to do this easily. I will volunteer, a female voice was heard. Which made all of them turn to where the voice came from. Where they saw a girl about the same age as Mai was. Who seemed to be a bit small for her age, being about 4 feet 10 inches in B cup S. She looked like she was training all her life due to the fact she had the body of an athletic runner. She also had light blue hair that ran to her shoulders, with the bangs of her hair partially covering up her pink eyes that only had a very small pupil. So small it was practically invisible. And you would be? Mei asks her suspiciously. Course that was until Mai ran up to the girl and gave her a hug. Megumi-chan, I thought I would never see you again. Mei called out. You know her? Mei asks her sister. Yeah, I know her. She is the youngest cousin of Yagura. She also was one of the only ones that he still remotely cared about. So she saw all that happened to the bloodline users and was sickened by it. Now I know that you don't trust her because of that, but she actually is the one that allowed so many bloodline users to escape her cousin's clutches. She even helped me escape, and I would have gotten away without a problem if I didn't freak out and accidentally go the wrong way out of the village. Oh, and just so you know, I trust her completely. Mai said with a quick smile. What she said is true. My cousin was good man until he started having a dream of a man with red eyes. Soon after that he attacked the bloodline users and started this war. Now I felt sorry for them, so I wanted to try and stop him, but he was too far gone. So, all I could do was help the people he attacked. And right now I have a way for my family to repay the village for all the trouble it caused. No other family needs to carry that horrible burden. Please let me, so I can at least have a chance to repay the bloodline users for all of the crap my cousin did. Megumi said with desperation clear in her voice. She truly wanted to become the sacrifice for this. I believe her, but it is up to you. Now for the seal to work, the demon needs to be weakened, so work on that while I start on the seal. Now if you excuse me, I want to get this done as fast as I can, Naruto said simply, and then sat down, took out a scroll, ink, and a pen and began to write his seal. While of course Mei went through the possibilities. She really wants to be the one to do it, I can see that is true. But can we trust her not to use its power for revenge? Well, Mai and Naruto trust her, so that says something, because they don't trust people all that easily. So, what should I do? I guess I will just have to go with my gut on this one. Mei thought. Okay guys, Naruto, our seal master, is working on a seal for this giant turtle, so right now we just have to weaken him and not do too much damage to our village. Now I don't care which side you were on right now, so unless you want this turtle to beat you, I suggest you do the same. Now all troops attack this Biju. Show him the true power of the mist. Mei screamed out to the entire group, and they all began to fight for their home, family, and very lives. Plus 2 hours later. I finally finished. Naruto screamed out in joy as he went up to Mei and Mai. Really, now do you think he is weak enough for the seal to work yet? Mei asked Naruto. He does seem weaker, but he still could use a bit more, but I will do that. But for this I only need the person that is becoming the human sacrifice to come with me. The rest of the people around will just get in the way. So, if you could please get everyone off of the lake so I can begin. Naruto told her politely and waited with the giant seal scroll he had strapped horizontally across his back. Okay, then I have picked. She tells him and then whispers the name to Naruto so he is the only one to hear. After she finished, he nodded and then grabbed the person, then walked onto the slowly clearing lake. You ready? Naruto asks the person and got a nod of approval in return. Then let me begin, Naruto said, then began the steps to seal the beast. The first thing Naruto did was send a bunch of shadow clones to pester the turtle. Now all I need you to do right now is show me your stomach. Naruto told the person, who quickly complied. So, Naruto began to write down a complex seal system on the stomach, leaving barely any of it not covered with a kanji or mark of ink. After Naruto did this, he pumped a bit of chakra into his eyes to activate the Rinnegan and walked towards the turtle. Naruto eventually started running and made it up the back of the turtle to about the center of the beast and began to do hand signs. Demigods pull, Naruto screamed out and then slammed both of his hands onto the turtle's back and jumped off. As soon as Naruto's feet touched the water, he ran back to the soon-to-be Jinchuriki's position. Soon after he did, he slammed his hands together and activated his jutsu, which brought some of the stones around the lake to slam onto the demon in the water. After a while, the demon was covered in a couple layers of stones, which only made it matter. Foolish mortal, you think this small amount of dirt will hurt me? The demon said to Naruto, mocking him. No, that was just to slow you down, Naruto said with a smile, then took off the scroll and then threw it onto the turtle's now dirt-covered shell and activated it by pumping chakra into it. After it was activated, the seal's kanjis moved and increased to cover the entire beast and then stopped. After they stopped, the beast started fighting the seals that bound the stone to him and was slowly weakening it. Course, while he was doing that, Naruto ran over to his sacrifice and slammed his chakra-covered fingers into the seal on their stomach while saying Devil's Warrior's final burial. After he did that, the demon's seal started to turn red and move over to the person. When they made it, the seals connected and red chakra started to travel the seal path for what seemed like hours. Till finally it stopped and the seals separated, leaving the new Jinchuriki to pass out on Naruto and a barely visible demon. Naruto then looked at his work and saw the truly interesting seal. The seal was a giant circle with a swirl going to the belly button. Around the circle was a bunch of symbols with 4 of them leading up to smaller circles with swirls. After he was done with looking at his work, he walked up to what was left of the turtle and began to talk. Too bad my seal couldn't take all of you chakra, I guess. Thankfully I have a way to get rid of the rest. You see, all of it is now going into your drainage seal, where it will overload it and explode, leaving all the chakra to disperse in the air. So goodbye, Naruto said, then activated the seal and sunshine to where Mei and Mai was. Boom. That noise was heard in villages all around the hidden mist, and all there was nothing left of the turtle, just water raining down to the ground that was brought into the air from the force of the explosion, causing everyone to cheer at the defeat of the turtle. Plus days later, the council had worked very hard starting up the reconstruction and weeding out the still loyal ninja all around the village, but have finally came to the hardest part of the rebuild, deciding a new cage. They thought long and hard on it, and had many meetings about it until they finally reached a decision. So, they gathered all of the village around the still damaged cage tower and told them the news of their decision. People of the village, may I present you your Godime Mizukage Mei Terumi. One of the council members yelled out and then allowed Mei to walk onto the balcony to give her speech. We of the Hidden Mist village have had a tough time for a while now with the last cage and the war going on. Now, while you all know that I was one of the people to start the war, want to assure you that it will bring in a new era for all of us. With the war over, we will rebuild our village and make it even better than before. And soon enough we will become the strongest village of this world. Mei told the village, causing people to cheer for her as she basked in it. Next day, Naruto, Mai, and Naruto's newest friend Megumi were in the makeshift office on the floor below the original office and were waiting to find out what Mei wanted. Welcome Naruto-kun, Mei-chan, Megumi-chan. I have brought all three of you to my office to give you your ranks. For Naruto we give you the rank Genin just because we have a plan for you that needs you to be that rank. Mei said, tossing Naruto a Hittite 8 which he accepted, not really caring which rank he got. Now for you two, I want you to finish up this year's schooling with all the other kids, seeing as neither one of you graduated. Oh, and Megumi, please don't use your Biju's chakra. I am sure Naruto has told you the reason not to. Mei said, and they both accepted that, and all three were about to leave until Mei called for Naruto to stay. Naruto, I know you are stronger than a genin, but we must show that we are still strong. So, you will be on a genin team for the sole reason of doing great in the Chunin exams, where you will be brought up to Chunin, or maybe even Jonin. Mei said seriously, and then gained an angry look that slightly scared Naruto as she continued. Also, the council has voted that your Rinnegan is to be made into a village bloodline. So, in order for your clan to increase in size quickly, you must take multiple wives. She finished, then looked at Naruto, checking his reaction to this, and was actually surprised by it. Naruto had a look of horror on his face as he exclaimed what he was thinking. What? How am I supposed to even date one girl when she will automatically think I just want her for breeding? This is just great. I will never find someone to start a family with. Naruto complained, which made Mei laugh a bit. Well, Naruto, any normal man would have been really happy with that, but then again, you never were really normal. Though as for your concern, I don't think will be all that hard. Seeing as some girls can be just as interested in guys as guys can with them. And I know for the fact that you have a lot of fan clubs already beginning to form for all you have done. Mei said happily, but then got her serious face again. But if you get perverted, I will melt your balls, she said, making Naruto turn completely white. Hi, Naruto said, then ran out of the room as fast as he could, and then went all the way to the house he was sharing with Yoshiko's family. It has been a month since the war and everything was rebuilt. All of the bloodline haters have either died or left the village, so they went back to a peaceful life. Megumi was happy with being the one who sacrificed, seeing as no one was really too bad for her. There was only a few people that resented her for various things, but mostly everyone didn't care what her past was or ignored it completely. Also, both her and Mai have grown up a little bit more and were looking more beautiful than ever. Mai, who now wore a black version of what her sister, with red highlights around the neck, sleeves and bottom rim of the dress. Her figure stayed slim with her constant training, and she had C-cup. Her hair was kept in a simple ponytail that traveled half down her back and was tied up with a simple red bow. Megumi was also looking great with her hair cut short so it just barely touched her neck. She wore a simple green kimono that split at her legs, letting her have the mobility she needs while showing of her smooth legs. While she also had a C-cup S that were just a little bit smaller than her friends. Both of them were now going to their last day of school so that they could learn which team they were going to be on. So, they happily walk into the classroom that already had a bunch of kids happily talking. So, they quickly sat down and began to talk until it was about time for the teacher to come in. So, when they all heard the door open up again, they all looked over to see who was coming in and was surprised to see Naruto walk through instead. Naruto still had his normal cloak on and looked the same except for growing an inch or two. The only difference was the two swords he had on his back. The swords were each about 3 feet long with a dragon wrapping around the sheaths. They also had a guard with the image of a dragon head biting the handle. Plus, both of the handles were wrapped in red leather. They both were called twin dragons. I only put it in bold because I can't find a way to put it in different language, not that I really care. He got them from Mei when she tried getting people to use the special swords again. Flashback equals. You wanted to see me, Mei? Naruto asked her. Yes, Naruto, I did. You see, we had a special group of swordsmen who each carried a special sword. Now there was 7 of them and 8 swords because we never could find someone for one of the swords. Now we already had one of our Jonin be accepted by a sword, so I want you to try and get one yourself as well, seeing as you seem to be quickly gaining power as well. So, how about we go see if we can hook you up with a sword May asked and then lead him down to where they were kept. So, Naruto tried to see if each sword would accept him by pumping chakra into each one, and so far he tried and failed with all but one sword. Course this was the one that no one used yet, so it wasn't personalized at all, it was just a regular looking sword with the creator's name etched in the side. Still Naruto wanted one, so he gave it a try, and this time when he put his chakra into it the sword began to morph. So, Naruto put the sword down and let it do what it wanted. So, both May and Naruto watched curiously as the sword finished up by slitting itself in two. So when it was finally done, there were two black blades that had two different kanjis. The left one had the kanji for dragon fighter and the other one had the kanji for fox fighter on the it. Wow, these swords are awesome. Naruto couldn't help but say as he looked at them. Which gave May a smile as well, saying, "Yup, and they are all yours, swordsman, so let us give you the style you will be using with them, or you could always use your own, it doesn't really matter." So, Naruto simply told her that he would use his style, seeing as he already knew his fox claw style. And with that Naruto left the room to train more. Flashback end. When Naruto entered the classroom, several girls blushed a bit seeing the person they had a crush on. Still Naruto took no notice and walked up to Megumi and Mai. "What are you doing here? I thought you were already at least Chunin." Mai asked, confused. "Ah, yeah, well, you see, Mei-chan wants to show that we are strong still, so she is going to put me on a team until the Chunin exam, where I will then go up to my rank. Though I have no idea which team I will be on, seeing as she still wanted it to be a surprise," Naruto told them, which of course got both of them hoping that they were on his team. Course everyone else wanted to be on his team as well and wanted to ask, but that was the time when their teacher came in. "Okay, then I know you guys are all excited about being genin, but be quit for a while so I can actually tell you which team you are on," the teacher said. That made all of the class pay attention to him completely. "Okay, then these are the teams. I am only going to say Naruto's team. Team 8 is Naruto, Megumi, and Mai. Your sensei will be Yoshira," and as soon as he finished, all of the Jonin walked into the room. Course everyone knew about her already. She had big D cup S that she hides in a dark red kimono with a black sash around her stomach. She also has dark hazel eyes and long blonde hair that was kept out of her eyes using her headband. Though she never holds any weapons on the outside of her outfit, everyone knows that she hid weapons all throughout her sleeves using seals. The only thing that some think harmed her good looks was the scar that she had on both cheeks from a swordsman trying to kill her. Course she only got the scar because she was fast enough to move her head just enough to have it not kill her. Still, she is in the Frozen Mist Princesses, which every guy knows is the scariest group in the village. Seeing as if they even think that you are being perverted around one of them, you will be in trouble. Course it is even rumored that the Cage herself is a member of it. All in all, she is not one to mess with. "Team 8 with me," Yoshira said simply, and then had them all follow her into one of the restaurants in town. And after they ordered, then their sensei began to talk to them. "Okay, then, as your old told you, my name is Yoshira. Now you Sally, we would have a test to see if you could actually be a good team. By May-sama told me to skip it, so I will just get to know each one of you. So, just say your name, likes, dislikes, and your dreams. And I will start. I like Dango, my friends in the club, and training. I dislike fangirls, Joshio Tem, and perverts. My dream is to live a good life. You next, redhead." She finished up, then waited for her team. "My name is Mai. I like Megumi-chan, Naruto-kun, my sister, and training. I dislike perverts, and Konoha. My dream is to become strong and have a family," Mai said happily and blushed while looking over at Naruto when she said the last part. Okay, then, so she has a crush on Naruto, her soon-to-be teacher, though, when Mai said that. "Okay, then it is your turn now, turtle girl," Yoshira said. "My name is Megumi, not Turtle. I like the turtles that are always friendly, my friends, and using ninjutsu. I dislike evil turtles, my cousin, and perverts. My dream is to heal my family's name and to start a family with a good man, Megumi said and then also looked at Naruto. Now seeing as both saw this they both though different things. This team is going to be awkward as long as they don't figure things out. Their sensei thought. She likes him too, I guess we will have to fight for him. I just hope we can stay friends after I win, both girls thought at the same time. Meanwhile Naruto remained completely clueless about all of this. Okay then training will be starting every day at noon at training field 6 and now I need to go to a meeting so enjoy the rest of your meal. Yoshira said then shunshined away to talk with Mei like the rest of the Jonin teachers. Course she had to wait for all the others to leave before she could say what she really wanted to. Mei, you never told your sister and her friend about Naruto's CRA, did you? Yoshira asked her with a bit of a sigh. No, of course I didn't. Do you think I really have to? Mei asked. Yeah, I am sure that they both like him. The only reason Naruto didn't is because he apparently has no skill in reading girls' emotions. Yoshira said with a neutral voice. Quote, comma dot. Okay then I will tell them, dot and get them to teach Naruto a bit, Mei said with a sweat drop on the back of her head. A kid that is growing to be one of the smartest people I know in many areas doesn't even have the slightest idea how to talk to girls, as all she can think while she sweat drops. Okay, bring them in here tomorrow after you train them, Yoshira, Mei told her and then watched as she left the room. Plus next day plus. Mai and Megumi went out to try and find Naruto so that they could tell him how they felt together because that is what they decided after hearing what Mei told them. If he really has to marry multiple women, I guess I can share just as long as he still loves us equally. They both thought as they finally saw Naruto. Hey Naruto, is it true that you are under CRA? Mai asks him. Yeah, why? Naruto said while sweating a bit. Crap, they're going to think I am just a pervert, aren't they? Naruto thought, thinking he would lose his friends. Okay then would you mind dating us then? Megumi asks, blushing so much that she looked like a tomato. What? Naruto asks in total disbelief. You heard her, we want in, Mai said, blushing just a bit less than Megumi. Please say yes already, this is embarrassing, Mai thinks as she waits. Why yes you're? Naruto says, still in shock. I can't believe it, I mean yeah, I like them but I wasn't going to tell them yet seeing as I just don't know how they would react to CRA, but now I don't have to. I mean they already figured it out and are okay with it. This is great, I finally get to date the dream girls. Naruto was thinking as he stuttered out his answer. After that he was hugged by the two girls with such force that he was knocked to the ground. And from that day on the team couple was made. Plus week after plus. Okay then Team 8, your next mission is to bring back Zabuza Momochi and his companion Haku back to the Mist Village. You see he left for failing to kill the last cage, so we could use him back because he is very strong and has basically done nothing wrong. Mei tells them and then with a simple nod they run off to try and find them. Plus Konoha, week and 2 days before plus. All was peaceful in the village until Kiba was heard screaming in the mission handout area. No. I demand that I get a better mission. These missions are an insult to my power, so give me better ones. Kiba screamed at the Chunin giving out missions. Who of course quickly decided to give him a mission just to shut him up. Okay then here is a C rank mission then Kiba. You and your team are to protect this man as he finishes the bridge he is making. Bring him in please, Minato asked the Chunin by the door, who nodded and opened the door to show a drunken Tazuna in. So, these are the people to protect me. Bah, they don't look like much. Tazuna drunkenly slurred out, which caused the Kiba to get angry and try to kill him. No Kiba, you can't kill the person we are supposed to protect. And don't worry Tazuna, I will be there to protect you as well so no harm will come to you. Kurenai said, smiling while still holding Kiba by the back of his shirt. And after a few moments they were off traveling with him to the wave. They all quickly passed a puddle that all Kurenai ignored. It is so sad that they think that will trick us, Kurenai though, as she secretly stared at the puddle. Still the ninja attacked and quickly killed Kurenai, then ran at Hinata. When she saw this, she was about to attack when she saw that Kiba beat her to it when he quickly knocked out the missing nin. Hey, I just saved you Hinata, so how about a date with the strong hero? Kiba say cockily, only to be turned down by her soon after. Damn it. I will have you eventually, Kiba thought. And with them done with, the ninja Kurenai came back and confronted Tuzuna about his lie. Which only lasted a little bit until they all decided to continue still. But after a little bit longer, Kurenai screamed out, "Duck!" right before a giant sword flew over them and hit the tree behind them. Well, Kurenai, the genjutsu mistress of Konoha, how about you hand over the old man and I will let you go? A voice asked her from the sword, and when she saw who it was, she began to mentally freak out. Crap, that is Zabuza, the demon of the mist. How will I be able to beat him with my genjutsu? She thought, worried, but hid it and said no to him. Zabuza looks the same as in the anime. Too bad now the kids have to die, Zabuza said, then quickly went to try and kill them all, but thanks to a kunai block from Shino pushed it down, so he only smacked them away. So, Zabuza went to the weakest person, who looked to be the youngest girl of the group. Which of course pissed off Kurenai, seeing as she always wanted kids and treated Hinata like one of hers. So, with strength she didn't know she had, she launched him into a tree with a well-placed kick to the chest. Suffer, Kurenai said, then put him into her special anti-pervert genjutsu featuring Guy, terrifying Zabuza so much that he didn't try to stop Kurenai as she brought a kunai closer to his neck. Thankfully for him, his weapon threw needles into his neck, killing him before she could then taking him out of the battle area. Course that was one of Kurenai's strongest genjutsu, so she was tired as well but was still able to walk to Tazuna's house. Come on, let's hurry, is all she said, and they all went as fast as they could with the old man to his house. When they got there, they were greeted by Tsunami, who happily let them in. After they got in and all settled in, they all began to train for when Zabuza and his helpers came back. Week after, Kurenai and her team brought Tazuna to work on the bridge for one of the last days of working on the bridge. Course nothing really happened unusual, so Tsunami and her son brought Tazuna his lunch as usual. Grandpa, we got your lunch, Inari said happily as he ran up to his grandpa. Hey Inari, let's eat. Guys, half-hour break for lunch. Tanuza called out to his group and they all went their separate ways. Though right when everyone was situated to eat, a heavy mist came into the area. Crap. Everyone on guard, Zabuza is here again. Kurenai screamed out and her team instantly was on their feet prepared for a fight. Though they weren't expecting the laughter that filled the air. You guys actually think that you can beat us? We know you skills now, so prepare to die. Zabuza screamed out, and then from the other side of them they heard ice shackles. After they heard that, ice quickly spread across the bridge that Kurenai managed to dodge, but her team was too slow. Soon enough they were covered up to their heads with ice, completely unable to move. After that, a water clone of Zabuza landed next to them and put his sword to their necks. Now don't move or we will kill your team, Zabuza told her coldly while releasing enough ki to show he was serious. So, Kurenai did the only thing she could do, she surrendered so she wouldn't see her team die. Which of course got a smile from Zabuza, who screamed out, "Die!" as loud as he could and charged it with his sword in front of, clearly trying to impale her. Course no one expected Zabuza to be blocked by a boy with two swords. Plus Naruto and group, minutes before, Naruto and his team were running through the forest around Tazuna's village. Yoshiro was trying to sense where Zabuza is as they ran around the forest. Course they just came to the village a little while ago and couldn't get any information from the village. So, all they had to go on was that he was last seen around the village, leaving them to have to search around for him. Though eventually they found his chakra signal around a large bridge that was being made. Course they also saw that he was fighting Konoha as well. Crap, we can't bring him back to our village if Konoha is pissed off at us. It could cause some trouble for us later, we must stop him, Yoshiro said angrily. Konoha will be mad at losing the clan heirs. Course right when she said that they saw he has about to kill them, so before any one of them could notice, Naruto ran up to Zabuza and blocked his sword with his two swords. Plus everyone plus. What the? Where did this guy come from? Kiba screamed out, while everyone else just stood there in shock. Zabuza, the demon of the mist, you are asked to return to your position as a ninja of the village hidden in the mist by order of Mizukage. Naruto said simply. Bah, I will never go back to that bloodline-hatting bastard. Zabuza screamed out, showing his obvious hatred of the guy. Not him, we killed him, our cage is Mai-sama. Naruto screamed out. Course when Naruto said that, the rest of the team showed up, and thankfully Yoshira quickly gave him the official scroll that gave him proof before he tried to kill Naruto again. So, of course Zabuza took the time to read the scroll and found it to be legit. Okay then, so the new Mizukage wants me to come back, Zabuza asked, then received a positive nod as an answer. Zabuza-sama, what do you want to do? Haku asks her. Master. Well, I am going to go see what this May gal wants. So, you can go do whatever you want, I don't own you anymore, so just go live happily somewhere. Zabuza told Haku. Please do, I don't want to break my tough guy act by saying that I think you are my daughter in all but blood, Zabuza wished as he said this. No, I will stay with you, Zabuza-sama, even if I do have to go back to that hellhole. Haku said, determined. And with that, they both released Kurenai's team and started to leave the area with Naruto and his group until they heard a voice yell at them. Well, it looks like the great demon is just a big softy. Man, am I glad I went with a backup plan. Now kill all of the guys but leave me all the girls for my enjoyment later, especially that ice bloodline demon. A short pudgy man screamed out, causing all of his thug army to charge. Shit, what are we going to do? I mean, there's no way we can kill them all with the amount of people we have. Kiba shouted, starting to freak out. Calm down, Kiba, we won't let these weak perverts get. Kurenai started until she felt a large mass of Ki radiate from somewhere near them. So, of course everyone looks to where it comes from and truly get afraid. For right there was Naruto with his Rinnegan activated and swords drawn, looking down at the thug army. The key amount that was released from him was so much that the people around him could have sworn they saw the Shinigami standing right behind him. You will not touch my friends. Naruto screamed out in a voice that was about as demonic as a human voice can get. And with that, Naruto charged at the army. For the next 5 minuets there was what could only be called a massacre. Blood flew everywhere and one of the thugs died, leaving only Gato left alive. Thankfully Inari passed out from the ki before he was mentally scared. Please don't kill me, I will give you anything you want. Gato begged Naruto when Naruto grabbed him by the shirt. So you will write down the location of all you have stolen from these villagers. Naruto screamed at him, and of course he did exactly what Naruto wanted. After he did that, Naruto just smiled sadistically. Okay then, I won't kill you. Naruto said, making Gato sigh in relief. They will. Naruto told him after a few seconds, and then threw him to the villagers that gathered with weapons at the ready. And with that, Gato's screams of pain were heard all over the town. And with that, Gato's army and life was destroyed by a single boy. Plus next day plus. Tazuna let the Mist Ninja spend a few days in his house to recover, so that is what they did. Course that was until Kiba decided to flirt a bit. So, he walked up to Mai, Megumi, and Haku to try and get one of them. Hey girls, how you doing? Kiba asked, making his voice sound as strong as possible. Hey, they responded and then went back to their conversation. So, what is your names? Kiba asked them simply, which they all answered truthfully, seeing no reason to lie. Ah, such beautiful names for beautiful girls, Kiba simply asked them, trying to get them to like them. Oh, thanks, but we are already dating someone, Mai and Megumi answered immediately, which was the exact time said boy and all the other ninja walked in, and Naruto immediately gave them both a big hug, making them blush as they felt his muscular body. Hey princesses, how is it going? Naruto asked both of the girls, who both smiled when they heard the nickname he gave them. What, you are both are dating? What is your name? Kiba says in disbelief and then remembered they never got his name, so of course all of the ninja besides his team listen closely to him. Oh, well, you guys can call me the White Fox, I guess, seeing as my real name is unimportant. Naruto said, simply shocking all of the people there. You mean you are the White Fox? Also known as the youngest traveling ninja? Hinata said in disbelief. Yup, as all Naruto tells them, just because he still isn't used to people being surprised by his nickname. Wait, you mean the person most respected by the civilians is a pervert? Kurenai said while her and Hinata began to get their anti-pervert jutsus ready. Wait, Yoshira quickly said, then pulled the two other girls out of the room. You see, he is not a pervert. I know that for a fact. The only reason he has multiple girlfriends is because our council decided that he needed to replenish his bloodline quickly. And neither girl was forced into it, they really do all like each other. Yoshira said, trying to calm down the two angry women. Stupid council, making it so men get to live out all their perverted dreams, but if you say so we won't kill him, but he is your village's problem if he becomes a pervert and tries to rape all of you, Kurenai said, and then walked out of the room. Oh, well, are you seeing anyone, Haku-chan? Kiba asks, hoping that he at least gets one. Sorry, I am a boy, she said simply while thinking, yes, anti-pervert sentence always works. He thinks I am a weird guy, not a girl. Course this also depressed Kiba, so he left the room with his head down. Hey Naruto, why didn't you tell them your real name? Haku asks him when it was only their team around. Well, my Chan told me she wanted to keep the White Fox's name a secret from the world until she feels it needs to be released. Which was a good idea for her, because could you imagine all the crap that Konoha would put her through if they found the Kage's son was a ninja in a different village. His name will be kept secret from everyone besides his village until it seems a right time to reveal it. Also, all his village already knows, I just don't want to fit him telling them into a chapter. Plus 2 days after plus. The bridge was finally done, so both teams leave in their separate directions thinking different things. I have to tell everyone about the White Fox, all 4 Konoha ninja thought as they ran back home. So Naruto is still available even if he is dating someone. Maybe I could date him as well, I mean he does seem great. I mean he protected us and obviously cares for both of them, Haku thought, then realized she was staring and turned away with a blush on her face. My daughter has her first crush. Well, I guess she picked someone that seems good. But if he hurts her I will personally kill him in the most painful way possible, Zabuza though as he saw his daughter start blushing. Meanwhile all the rest of them were just happy they succeeded and wanted to reach home as quick as possible. Plus Wave Village plus. Hey, what should we name the bridge? Inari asked his grandpa. You know I have no clue. Wait, what about the Great Tanuza Bridge? He asked the village hopefully, only to get everyone screaming no at him. Course that was the time that Tsunami decided to try to name it. Hey, what about the Bridge of Peace? I mean that is what those ninja brought to us with it, she said, then waited for the answer. Which surprisingly was all yeses. So, from that moment on the bridge was called that. Kurenai and her team just finished with their mission debrief and went their separate ways. The 3 genin went to the meeting grounds to tell all of them more about the mystery that is the White Fox. When they get there they find all of the genin already there enjoying a small meal of rice balls as they talked about random topics. Hey guys, bet you can't guess who we meet on our last mission. Kiba said mockingly when they reached the rest of them. Should we actually care, Kiba? I mean it was probably just some random ninja anyways. Sakura said, vocalizing the whole group's lack of care. No, actually Sakura-san, we meet the White Fox on our journey and it seems that he has joined the mist. Shino said calmly but yet still surprising the whole group. Wait, you actually met the fox? Ino said in disbelief and got approval nods as her answer. Oh, wow, so what did he actually look like? Why was he there? She asked the entire team, wanting to know everything she can about the enigma called the White Fox. Well, the White Fox seems to be a man who loves to be mysterious, seeing as he never removed the cloak he wore to keep his identity secret. Though we can see that the description matches the one in the book, except he is not wanted by the hidden mist, instead it seems he is a member of them instead. I mean, he brought Zabuza and his helper back to them saying that it was a mission for them, so it is safe to say that he is one of them. Hinata tells her friend, making sure they all knew the same information. Ah, so the fox settled down then. Shame he didn't come here then. I mean, could you imagine being able to actually find out who he really is? So much easier. Now if we want to find out more, we will have to actually see him in various places. Ino said, a bit saddened by the news. Bah, why do we want to know about someone who can't even enter the village anymore? We know he is real now, so what does it matter? There is nothing more reason to find out about the fox. Kiba says to them, a bit annoyed. I mean, really, all of you girls should be focused on the alpha male here, me. Not some other guy that you can't even get around. Kiba thinks after he tells them that with a perverted smile on his face. Still, they all felt he had a point and just focused on training, seeing as they all wanted to get to be in the Chunin exam. Meaning that they needed all of the training they can get to be prepared for it. Plus Naruto and gang plus. Naruto's team reached the hidden mist with Zabuza quite quickly, seeing as they weren't searching for anyone on the way back. Course, when they got there, they immediately went to Mai to do their mission debrief. Sis, we have completed our mission, Mai said happily as she walked into the room. Well, first of all, will you two be joining our village again? Seeing as the cause of you leaving was only attacking the last cage, so do you wish to join under me? Mai asks both Zabuza and Haku, then waited for their answer. Yes, we will join you, but if you ever become like that bastard was, it will lead to the same fate. Zabuza said, then quickly felt a large amount of ki focusing in on him. So, of course he looks around and sees the cage with a sickly sweet look on her face. If you threaten me again, then there will be nothing left of you except a puddle of lava. Mai said calmly in a voice that sent shivers down Zabuza's spine. Hi, Zabuza says, obviously a bit afraid of the woman in front of him. Geez, why is this scaring me so much? It is just one girl. But, for some reason my body is telling me that it would be best for my health to keep on her good side, Zabuza thinks as he looks at the cage in front of him. Okay, then we will be giving you the rank of Jonin again, though you must tell me a good position for your partner. Mai says simply. Ah, yes, young Haku should be right around a Chunin in skill. Zubaza said calmly, thus seeing Haku being thrown a Chunin vest. And with that they left the room to go get Zabuza situated in town again. Plus week after plus. Okay then, are you guys ready for the exams? Mai asked Yoshira's team as they all stood next to the village entrance. Yes sis, we will make sure that everyone knows just how strong the mist is. Mai said happily. You better, or else we won't be able to come see your match in the final round. Haku said semi-serious as she watched her friends preparing to leave. Yubi, we will make it Haku Haim, Naruto said determined. Course that brought back the memory of how he first learned that Haku was really a girl. Flashback equals. Haku was happily walking with two of her friends, Mai and Megumi. All three of them were focused on buying all the stuff Zabuza and her needed, seeing as missing ninja always have money but usually lack anything else except for the bare minimum. Okay then Haku, what do you want in terms of clothing? Mai asked Haku, seeing as they promised that they would help Haku get situated. Well Mai, I don't really need anything too fancy. Maybe just some regular kimonos, casual dresses, undergarments and such. Only enough for little while, then I will buy other stuff when I can actually enjoy myself in carefree shopping. Haku said calmly. Okay then, that should be good. Wait, did you just ask for female clothing? I thought you were a guy. Megumi asks, causing Haku to blush a bit in embarrassment. Well, you see, I find it so much easier just to say I am a boy than to deal with perverts. Plus, Zabuza sensei told me that it would be easier to not attract attention if I didn't look like a girl. Which makes sense, because if you look like a guy, no one will try to flirt with you. Haku said, still blushing at having to tell her friends. Oh, well, I guess we can understand that, but why didn't you tell Naruto? I mean, he is a pretty good guy, he wouldn't try to do something to you. Mai said. Yeah. Well, I didn't want that Kiba kid having a chance of overhearing me. Haku said happily, and with that they all just continued buying random things for Haku's new home. Thank you for helping me set up our home, Haku said, truly thankful for her friend's help. No problem, now make sure that you and Zabuza come to the restaurant for the celebratory meal after our first real mission success, Megumi said, and with that they all left to prepare for the meal they were going to have. Later that night, Naruto, Yoshira, Mai, and Zabuza were all at a random restaurant waiting for Haku to show up, seeing as she was the only one not there. Okay then Zabuza, do you know what is taking Haku so long? Mai asked, only to see Zabuza shrug. Haku didn't tell me anything except that he might be late for some reason. Zabuza said simply. Though right after he said that, said person walked through the restaurant door, surprising a certain blonde. Haku walked up to them with her hair flowing down her back. She had red lipstick and just a slight amount of makeup to show of her face's true beauty. She was also wearing a pink kimono with sakura flowers and a dark red sash tied around her stomach, which showed of her figure perfectly. Altogether she was looking absolutely beautiful, especially with her checks slightly red because everyone was looking at her. Haku, I thought you were a boy, Naruto said in total surprise. Does it look like I am a boy now, Naruto-kun? Haku asked while walking up to him. Which of course made Naruto blush even more until she finally sat down next to the still shocked Naruto. Course everyone else was laughing at the way Naruto reacted, seeing as they all knew that Haku was a girl. They just didn't expect her to do something like this to tell Naruto. Course after that they enjoyed the rest of their meal while still picking on Naruto every now and then. Course after that day Haku became one of Naruto's girlfriends. Course she only became one because she grew to like him from when they talked as they came to the village. Which of course was completely fine with Mai and Megumi because they both knew she was going to be with them eventually. Flashback end equals. So, now that you guys have finally finished saying goodbye to us, then just leave so you don't miss all of the exam because you couldn't stop saying goodbye. Zabuza mockingly said. Stop acting like you won't miss us, Naruto told him in a sarcastic voice. In your dreams, kid, Zabuza said with a tick mark beginning to appear on his head. Nope, my dreams aren't about you, so sorry, and with that Zabuza began to chase Naruto around the field. Well, we better go before we lose a teammate, Yoshira said, and with that they all left to go to Konoha. Plus near Konoha plus. Okay then, now that we are so close to the village, let me remind you of two things. One, remember that we aren't here for you to become Chunin. You more than likely will become Chunin no matter what. And two, Naruto will be known as Yuto Rustoshi. Oh, and Naruto, please wear this mask to hide your whisker marks, Yoshira said, handing Naruto a white mask which he calmly puts on his face. Then they walk to the entrance. Halt and state your business, a random Konoha Chunin at the gate asked them. We are here for the Chunin exams. I am the sensei Yoshira, and this is my team Mai, Megumi, and Yuto, Yoshira said as she pointed to each member of her team who nodded when their names were called. And after a while they were allowed to enter the village. After they got situated in their hotel, they all went to just walk around the village a bit. So, they all went their separate ways, with Yoshira going to get food, Naruto to do some training, and the girls went shopping. Plus Hinata, Narumi, Ino plus. So gals, where are we going next? Ino asked happily as she and her friends went around shopping. Doesn't matter, we are just celebrating the fact that we got nominated to be in the Chunin exams, Narumi said, just as happy because of the chance of meeting strong opponents. And with that they all entered the next store, only for Hinata to see two people she didn't expect to see again. Is that you, Mai? Megumi? Hinata asked, surprised when they saw each other in the store. Oh, hey Hinata, haven't seen you since the mission, Mai said neutrally when she saw the Konoha genin. Hinata, you know them? Hinata's friends asked. Yeah, I do. This they are Mai and Megumi, the teammates of the guy the first was telling you about, Hinata said with a bit of annoyance in her voice because she remembered that he had CRA. Hello, Both mist girls said, normally receiving the same from Hinata's friends. Course with that they all went on shopping till for quite a while until they finally stopped and just sat down and talked for a bit. So, are you guys nervous about the Chunin exams? Narumi asked her new friends. No, we are excited. I mean, we both are completely ready and we know our teammate is as well. Megumi said confidently while Mai nodded her head agreeing. Wow, pretty confident, but where is your teammate anyway? I mean, you guys have been relaxing all day yet we haven't seen your sensei or your teammate. Ino asked, hoping to see the famed white fox. He is right behind you. They all hear, right behind the bench they were sitting on. Which of course surprised all of the Konoha kunoichi, who both jumped away from the voice only to see the person they were asking for. Don't do that. Ino screamed out at him and then saw the person their group was talking about for the first time. She saw a tall boy that seemed to be about her age wearing all white with a white cloak that had the kanji for white fox on the back. He had bright blonde spiky hair, shining blue eyes, and the most noticeable thing about his face was the mask that covered the bottom half of his face, same as Kakashi's mask. Course she couldn't help but notice that he was a good-looking guy. So, you are the white fox? Narumi asks while looking closer at Naruto. Shit, it had to be her, didn't it? Kami couldn't keep her away from me. Nope, I have to meet my so-called sister right away. Hopefully she won't realize who I am. I mean, it has been a while since I saw her. Naruto thought, sweating a bit when he saw her. Could he really be my brother? It is hard to tell seeing as he is barely showing any of his features, and it is not like I can just ask if he is Naruto and expect an honest answer. I mean, when he left he still hated me. I guess I will just have to observe him and find out for myself. Besides, Ino and Hinata will help me, seeing as Ino already seems to like his looks. Narumi thought as she looked at the white fox, trying to figure out who he really was. Naruto-kun, could that really be you? Damn it, if I was out of this seal I could just sense your chakra. Oh, well, I guess Narumi will find out eventually if we get lucky. Natsui thought as she saw the fox through her cage's eyes. Well, hello there ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yuto Rustoshi, otherwise known as the White Fox. Naruto said kindly, hoping that his sister would take it as the truth. Thankfully, due to the time, they only talked for a bit more before they had to leave for their hotel rooms. Plus next afternoon plus backquote. Naruto was just walking around town until he heard a little kid screaming out for help. So, Naruto quickly went into the forest where he saw a boy about his age wearing way too much makeup holding up a little boy that seemed to be struggling to escape. Course it was not his village, so he decided to watch for a bit, seeing as the boy wasn't going to be injured at the moment. Hey, let me go. The boy complained. Shut up, you brat, you need to learn what happens if you rudely bump into someone, the boy with makeup said, clearly mad at the boy and prepared to punch the young kid. So, Naruto prepared to come in and stop it until he heard a voice telling the makeup wearing to drop the boy. So, both the boy and Naruto look over to see Narumi standing there glaring at the boy. No, this brat needs to learn a lesson about hitting their superiors. The boy told Narumi. Kankuro, don't do it, the girl standing beside him warned him quietly while she nervously looked around the area. Shut up, Tamari, I don't care, Gaara isn't around, so I have nothing to fear. Kankuro said, and then was about to continue with his punch until he saw a red flash and Narumi had the kid near her. Which, I suggest you don't attack a member of the village Aegean or else I will be forced to protect him, thus killing to do it, Narumi told him coldly. Course they were both surprised by her doing the flash that they didn't even notice her glare. Oh, great, the first Konoha ninja we see is the Kage's daughter. Kankuro says sarcastically to the Tamari. Do not involve me with that man. My name is Narumi Uzumaki, not Namikaze. Narumi screamed out, furious with the sand ninja. Wait, what is going on between those two? I mean, they were just fine before I left, what happened? I have to say I am curious about it, but really it doesn't matter to me. Naruto thought when he saw her reaction. Course right after she said that a voice was heard, Don't worry, your name won't matter when you end up proving my existence, a redhead says creepily. Gee Gara, how long have you been there? Tamari said nervously when she saw her brother. Long enough to see that my brother is a disappointment to the village and to see the perfect victim to prove I am alive. See you at the exam. Gara said with sadistic smile that showed just how bloodthirsty the boy really was. They all look the same as they do in anime shows, so I feel no need to do a description of them. And with that went their separate ways. Plus Ninja Academy plus. Narumi and her team was walking up to the room 301 for the first part of the test course. They went into a genjutsu zone as they walked onto the second floor. On this floor they see a bunch of genin huddling around a door that was being blocked by two people. Well, look at all those fools that can't even see through this weak genjutsu, Sasuke said when they were still a ways away from the group. Course when he said that he was going to go and tell them, so Narumi quickly grabs the back of his shirt and dragged him up to the room, leaving the kids to their fates. When they got into the room there were a bunch of kids already there, but they still had about 15 minutes till the test actually started, so they went to keep themselves occupied for the time. 10 minutes later. Same teams as in anime except for Naruto's team and Narumi. Basically all of the teams were already in the room that were going to be there. Though there were only a few minutes until the first testy actually started. So, people were now just trying to intimidate the other teams or hide away, becoming less of a target. Which is why when Naruto and his team showed up, a couple of kids tried to intimidate them by leaking their ki into their surroundings. You guys think we should show them what real ki is? Megumi whispered to her two teammates. Yay. Sis did say she wanted us to demonstrate our village's power. Mai whispered back, causing them all to get an evil smirk as they let out their own ki, which not only destroyed the other kid but to also increase it so much that the kids were visibly terrified by the team. Though after a few moments the Konoha ninja began to talk until an older boy with gray hair came up to them offering information on their opponents, which Sasuke quickly took. Give me information on Gara and the White Fox. Sasuke said, hoping he had at least some information on each of them. Those two seem to be the strongest, most known ninja here. So, if I beat them it will show just how great I am. Plus, it might even show Narumi why she sold be one of my wives, so the Uchiha can be even stronger than before. I am glad I actually listened to the council. I mean, they had a good point. Getting her will allow me to get more jutsu from their clan so I can have even more jutsu to use against Itachi. Sasuke thought as he asked for the names. Okay, then let's see what I have on them. The genin said, shuffling through his info cards. Ah, Gara from the Sand Village. Also, the Cage's kid with his brother and sister as his teammates. They have done 4D ranks, 15C ranks, and 2B ranked missions. Though the most notable part of those missions is the fact that he has never got injured in any of his missions. The genin told them, scaring them a bit. That has to be a lie. No genin can even do a B rank mission but never getting injured. That has to be even more impossible. Kiba asked, just getting a shrug from the boy. So, without saying anything else about Gara, instead he just started talking about the next person they asked for. Now the White Fox, otherwise known as Yuto. He was a wandering ninja until he suddenly joined the Mist Village. His teammates are Mai, the sister of the Mizukage, and Megumi, the cousin of the last Mizukage. He has completed 15C rank missions and AB rank. The genin finished giving them just only a small amount of information. Course after he read the card another man came into the room right behind the desk everyone was talking near. Though Sasuke was still thinking about what he was told. Both of these two seem to be really strong. They should be excellent opponents to prove my clan and my strength to everyone. Especially Narumi. I will finally show her that she should be with the strongest Uchiha alive. Attention maggots, my name is Ibiki Morino and I will be the examiner for the first test. A man sternly called out. Course everyone listened to him quickly just because of his appearance. Ibiki was a tall man around 6 feet with a black trench coat covering up his gray shirt and pants. He wore his forehead protector as a bandana which covered all of the top of his head. Though his face was the thing that really scared the kids. His face looked stern with cold black eyes that seemed to look through you and a permanent scowl on his face. He also had two scars that went across most of his face diagonally, both of which were close to his eyes. So everyone quickly sat down in their designated seats. He began to explain the rules. Okay, this is how the first test will work. You have an hour to complete the 10-question test in front of you. Though you have 10 points to begin with, each time you are caught cheating, we subtract 2 points from you. If one of your teammates loses all their points, the entire team is out. So with that being said, begin, Ibiki says, and then all of the Chunin hopefuls began their tests. These questions seem to be too hard for the average genin to answer. So, there must be a few people here with the answers that we are supposed to copy off. They are practically telling us to cheat. Well, if they really want us to. Naruto thinks and then wrote down a scroll copying seal on a corner of his paper and then tore the seal off. After it was off the paper, he put a protection seal onto the back of the seal's paper so that it couldn't get wet. He then mumbled water snake jutsu, putting a small amount chakra into it so that it was small enough to slither through undetected. When it was formed, he gave it the seal and then sent it to one of the clamorous looking genin in the crowd, which took a while, seeing as Naruto needed to make sure it wasn't caught. And thankfully no one noticed it, as the seal was placed onto another person's test, where it began to slightly glow blue, showing it had copied all that was on the paper. Then Naruto slowly brought it back to himself. When it did, Naruto took the seal and placed it onto his own paper and sent more chakra into it so it would place all the answers onto his own test. And that is my test complete. But what about the 10th question? I mean, all they put on the test, for it is, will be told at latter time. Oh well, I guess we will have to just wait for them to tell us this. Oh, so secret 10th question. Naruto thought until he discreetly looked at his teammates' girlfriends, who looked to be extremely nervous about their test. So, with a sigh, he figured that they didn't want to chance cheating, so he quickly sent out another water snake to give them the seal, confident that Mai and Megumi would know what to do with it. Course they both did so. With a half an hour left, all three of them were happily waiting for the time to end, or the 10th question. Plus Narumi was surprised about hearing both of the guys' information. Even if it was just their teammates and their mission count, it was still surprising that both of them did B-rank missions. They both were people she had to keep her eyes on. Course soon after she heard about them, the exam started and she had to focus in onto the actual test. Why are these questions so hard? How do they expect us to do these questions? Wait, they want us to cheat, don't they? Narumi thought, freaking out until she realized the point of the test and looked around to all her friends, who all seemed to be doing fine. So, she just spent her time either worrying about what she was going to do and cursing herself for not learning Rakan Jutsu or tactics. Course that was until she heard a voice in her head call out her name, which worried her until she heard the tone of Ino's voice. Ino, what do you want? Narumi asked her friend. Well, I figured you wouldn't have all of the answers, so how about I just give them to you, okay? Now the answers are, Ino began and then started telling Narumi all the answers, who happily started writing them down. Okay, then all Konoha genin have all the answers, and judging by the looks of the White Fox's team is done as well, so I wonder what will happen with the 10th question. Oh, well, I guess I will just use this time to try and figure out the mystery that is the White Fox. I mean, even though his name was said, I can't help but think that is my brother, but I have no proof. Wait, that is it. I need to get that mask off, and if he has the whisker marks, I will know it is Naruto ni. Narumi thought, hoping that it was her brother. Yes, Kit, that has to be Naruto-kun, but like you said, we need to be sure, so it would be best if we can either take that mask off, see if Hinata remembers his face, or learn it from his teammates slipping up and telling us themselves. Natasi told her container to get a physic nod in return. Plus everyone plus. The time for the first test was running out. There was only about 2 minutes left when Ibiki began to speak again. Okay, then, seeing as it is getting towards the 1 hour mark, one will ask the 10th question. But you must choose if you want to take this question. For if you answer it wrong, then you will fail the test and never be allowed to take it again. But, if you give up now, I will let you and your team go and you could always take it next year, Ibiki told all of the genin, shocking them. What, but there are kids here that have done the test several times already. One of the genin complained. So, what? They didn't have me as the examiner, so just decide whether you want to continue or not. Ibiki said with an evil smirk. So with that, everyone watched as a couple of teams quit. Though eventually began to slow down, so Ibiki tried to thin out the genin just a bit more. Oh come on, there are so many genin here that are taking it for the first time. A lot can happen in these tests and you might die so young. So, trust me, you are going to want to just give up this year and try again when you have a few more years under your belt. Ibiki told them, trying to act sincere. Ibiki managed to get a few more to quit and was going to try again quickly before he had to give the question, but he was interrupted by one of the mist ninja. Would you just give the question already? Your scare tactics aren't going to work anymore, so just give the question and let us continue with this test. I don't want to waste time having to sit here listening to an old man try to scare us. Naruto told him, trying to get him to continue the exam. I don't want to stay in Konoha any longer than I have to. I don't want to deal with all the bastards here. Naruto thought after he complained to Ibiki. Damn kid, now that the mood is gone and all the brats got their confidence again, it is pointless to continue this anymore. Damn Gaki, I will be hearing Anko's comments about leaving so many already. Ibiki thought to himself and then said, okay then, so are all of you sure you want to continue? Which received approving nods from all the kids. Then all of you have passed the first exam. Ibiki told them, confusing all of the genin. Wait, what about the last question? Kiba asked, confused. So Ibiki removed his headband, showing a bunch of scars on his head. Ninja are meant to be able to get and hold information secretly. Course, sometimes you must pay for the information or have to deal with a question that could have many possible answers. So, that is what this test was about. Now all you have to do is Ibiki told them, until a ball crashed through the window. Soon after, the ball came through. A woman who seemed to be in her 20s or 30s stood up. She had purple hair that was put up into a ponytail that made it look like a pineapple. She also was pretty good looking for her age, which was clearly shown by her coat that just barely covered up her s. Course, she pinned up the sign with a few kunai when she entered, which read, the sexy Anko Mitarashi, second examiner of the Chunin exams. Well, look how many teams are left, you are losing your touch, Ibiki, Anko told him as she looked around at all the genin. Or maybe these kids are just all as strong this year, Ibiki suggested to her, causing her to laugh. Thus causing all genin around her to get a little mad at the woman. Okay, all you brats meet at training ground 44 for part 2 of your test. If you aren't there in 10 minutes, you automatically fail. She told the genin and then shunshined away to it, leaving a few leaves where she stood. Course, all the genin started freaking out except for Naruto's team, who just shrugged and shunshined away, leaving behind water mist where they were before. Which surprised all the other genin around. Who ever heard of genin being able to use that jutsu? Was all that was going through their minds for a bit, until they realized they were being timed and quickly ran out of the room, trying to make it to training ground 44. When Naruto and his team finally got to the training ground, they saw Anko just starting to open a pack of dango that she apparently was going to eat while waiting for the teams. Though right before she was going to eat the first piece, when she noticed Naruto's team. Oh come on, how are you brats here already? There is no way a team could find this place that quick while running. Anko whined childishly at them. Yeah, you're right, it did take us a while, but we shunshined around till we found you, which saved us some time. Mai told her like it was completely common for genin to know that jutsu. Wait, how do genin know that jutsu? I mean, I didn't learn it till I was a chunin for quite a while. Perhaps Ibiki was right about these kids being an excellent group. Though something tells me there is more to this team than meets the eye. Especially that blonde one. Though why does he seem so familiar? Anko thought, until she saw all of the genin were finally there, so she needed to start the exam. Okay then brats, this is how the second exam is going to work. We are going to throw all of you into training ground 44, otherwise known as the Forest of Death. In this forest you will have to survive until you get 2 of these scrolls from your fellow genin. Now of course there is a 7-day time limit for when you need to be at the tower in the middle with the scrolls. If you are not there on time, lose a teammate, or open your scroll before entering the tower. Now each one of you need to sign this pamphlet saying that we are not responsible for your deaths if you die. And after that you and your team will go to that tent to receive one of these scrolls. Anko explains to all of the genin who got slightly nervous just by hearing what the second test had in store for them. Course they were all surprised by a voice in the crowd sarcastically saying, "Oh, the Forest of Death, I am so afraid. What is it going to do, wrap me in vines? Please, we can easily survive in a regular forest." So, they all look at where the voice was and saw Mai standing there after saying with a confident smirk on her face, with Naruto and Megumi standing behind her with the same smile. Though Narumi and Sasuke were thinking along the same lines, except they were a bit more fearful because of the stories they heard about the forest. Course Anko decided to try and scare the kids that were trying to act brave by throwing a kunai at the one boy of their group. Course she could have attacked one of the girls, but she had the best angle on the boy, and due to her dedication of trying to a certain Konoha Jonin's mask off helped that decision as well. Though right after throwing the kunai an event happened that surprised everyone. When they both were in the vision of the other genin, they saw the kunai that was thrown in Naruto's hand pointing behind himself at the throat of Anko. "You need to be careful with kunai, you might just hurt yourself," Naruto told her, just making her more angry than surprised. "Yeah, Gaki, but it might hurt you as well," Anko told him with a sadistic, and then moved the kunai that she had closer to his back. Course no one saw, but she only grabbed it when she saw that he caught the first one. Course they separated soon after she said that, and she walked back in front of the genin. Though no one noticed the glare that Mai and Megumi was giving Anko. Though all the teams got prepped for the forest after that. Okay, then now that everyone is all situated, have fun killing. I mean fighting each other, and let the second part of the exam begin, Anko said happily over the speakers that went over to each of the gates. And then all of them open, allowing them to begin to try and get their scrolls as soon as possible. Plus Naruto's team plus. Okay, so what is the plan? Naruto asks his teammates. Well, we have 7 days, but seeing as there will probably be people setting up traps near the center eventually. Though we could also wait for them to get what they need so that we don't bother us, or we could just take care of them so that we can loot the looters. But for now we might as well explore for a bit, because I am curious why Konoha ninja are so nervous about this place. Megumi told them, completely serious about the task on hand. Okay then, so how about we just hunt down a team or 2 while we look around then? Naruto tells them, and with a nod they all go out into the forest to hunt for other teams and for what might be lurking in the forest. Plus Narumi and her team plus. So Sasuke-kun, what should we do? Sakura asks her crush. Well, right now we should hunt down one of the strongest teams here, so I say we go for either the team from Sand or Mist, Sasuke says, and then gets back to looking for an opponent. Soon I will prove to everyone just how superior I am, though, as they continued on. What? Are you kidding me? We should go for a weaker team so that we can easily get the scroll we need. Why would we bother trying to go for a stronger team when we don't have to? Narumi says in disbelief. Oh, shut up Narumi Baka, you are just too weak to like Sasuke's plan, Sakura spat at her. Course that caused Narumi to sweat drop at her hopeless teammate. You are weaker than me, Sakura, as all she could think as she then ignored the ranting of her teammate as they traveled through the forest. Though she couldn't change Sasuke's mind, so she just went with them and hoped that they didn't find anyone too strong. Seeing as it is never good for you to show off your true strength before it is necessary. Course they never expected that a single genin would show up and launch Narumi using a wind jutsu, which caught her by surprise. Well, hello there Sasuke-kun, the genin said in a creepy voice. What do you want? Sasuke asks angrily. I want something simple, a fight for the scroll, the genin said happily and then took out her scroll, wrapped her tongue around it and swallowed it. EEWW, as all the rest of the genin could say when they saw that. Course they couldn't think about it because the genin attacked them soon after she swallowed the scroll. They tried to fight back but she was so fast that they were unable to fight back. So, Sasuke quickly activated his bloodline and managed to hit the genin with a fire jutsu, so the genin fell to the ground burning for a bit until it finally went away. There, I think we got the bastard, Sasuke said as he breathed in relief. Then they both began to walk away from the smoldering ground where the body was, which was hidden under a smoke cloud. So, neither one of them expected a head to come out of the smoke quickly on what appeared to be an elongated neck. The head quickly bit Sasuke between his neck and shoulder blade and retracted just as fast as it extended. Kukuku, keep the gift I gave you and remember who will be able to give you more strength than you could ever dream about. The body, that was now standing up, told them, allowing Sakura to see exactly who it was but not Sasuke, seeing as he was currently withering on the ground in pain. Course that made Sakura pale when she saw the face of the Rouge Sanin Orochimaru beneath what looked like charred flesh. Sorry brat, but I can't have anyone tell everyone about my gift yet, so I have to kill you, Orochimaru said with a smirk that showed that he was not truly sorry about. And with that he began running towards the still shell-shocked girl. Though neither expected a water whip to come between the two of them. So sorry, but I can't let you get rid of them. Even if they are annoying. So, I guess I have to stop you, Narumi said, and then got into her stance prepared to fight and hopefully beat the Sanin. Then they quickly began their battle. Plus Naruto and Team Plus. Naruto, Mai, and Megumi were all running around trying to figure out the forest. And so far they were finding weird things everywhere they looked. It seems that this forest is the perfect grounds for animals and plants to grow. Seeing as few people come into this place due to ninja not wanting to be in the testing area. So now everything has nothing but its natural enemies to worry about. And even then it is minimal because of all the food around. Allowing everything to flourish, it is actually kind of nice to be in this perfect forest if it wasn't for the fact that someone ate up the forest, making it want to kill anything that isn't natural to it. Naruto thought as he ran with his team. Or at least he was until he saw one of the saddest traps he ever saw. It was a steel wire tied between two trees, trying to decapitate them using their own speed. Which probably would have been smart if it wasn't for the fact that you could clearly see the wire. So, of course all his team just stopped to just stare at the trap's stupidity. But of course they eventually looked up into a tree by the trap that was making a noise that seemed like snoring. How can they be sleeping with only this pitiful trap as a defense, and in the middle of the day? Mai asked her team, who just shrugged, clearly wondering the same thing. So of course the entire team was trying to hold back their laughter at possibly the worst genin team in history. But they only stayed for a few short moments and were about to just search the team and leave when they saw them start to wake up. Ah, what a good nap, one of them said happily as he stretched out and then saw the team just looking at him and his team. So of course he quickly woke up his other teams and they all jumped, fell to the ground below. So, a team finally gets the balls to face the strongest team here. Beware, for we are the only team here composed completely of Konoha's counselors' kids, they all said together cockily and striking a pose. Which is when Naruto's team saw all of their expensive weapons and armor. Course they were also clearly shown to be from rich families just because it seemed that they felt that ninja could still wear jewelry because they looked to be covered in as much jewelry that could manage to fit on themselves. Altogether they looked like 3 shining gold medal cans. Wow, how can they call themselves ninja if they not only wear enough armor to block their movement but also make themselves noticeable by wearing shining jewelry? Naruto and Mai couldn't help but think, looking at the one of the weirdest teams in the exam. Course Megumi felt no need to wait for them to attack and ended up just running behind them and slamming their heads together, instantly knocking them out. Though when she looked at her friends she saw their questioning looks and simply said, "What, you would do the same thing if you two weren't too busy gawking at them," which of course was completely true. So they all got started trying to search for the scroll that team had and eventually found a Earth scroll which they needed, meaning they were done with the test already and it was only sunset of the first day. But all of a sudden they felt a spike of foul chakra in the air and a girl screaming. So, they decided to check it out, seeing as they couldn't help but want to help, and then began racing to what seemed to be the direction of one of the biggest trees in the forest. Plus Narumi and her team plus. She and Orochimaru were fighting for at least 10 minutes and it seemed obvious that he was just toying with her. Well, my dear Narumi-chan, I think I had enough fun with this fight, so how about I just take you out of the equation for a while? Orochimaru told her, then brought back one of his hands which soon had fire and kanjis on all of his fingers except his pinky. And when he felt it was ready, he slammed it into her already existent seal and simply said chakra suppressing seal, which screwed with her chakra system, thus knocking her out for a while. And as soon as she fell, Orochimaru saw that the pink-haired girl was beginning to come out of her shock, so he took one last look at the team and melted into the ground under him, not leaving any trace of himself being there. Oh, crap, I am the only one able to move right now, but we need to get away from here, seeing as all the noise must have called someone. Sakura thought and then began to pick her teammates up and brought them both to a nearby pine tree that had its branches low enough that it made a tent. 2 hours later, Sakura had a bucket of water and bandages that she was currently putting on her sweating teammates' heads. She was trying her hardest to give medical care to them, but she didn't know exactly what to do, but she did manage to set up a few traps around their tent. Which was good because she soon heard one of the traps being set off, launching a few hidden kunai. So, she grabbed her weapons pack and ran out of the tent and saw Ino and Hinata's team standing there. Hey Sakura, how are you doing? Ino asked happily to the girl she thought of as a friend. Who of course just stood in her stance until Ino finally told her that the Konoha ninja should be sticking together. Which of course lowered Sakura's suspicions, but she still was tense until she finally decided she couldn't beat them all anyways, so she just lowered her defenses and greeted her fellow Konoha ninja. Who turned out to be actually peaceful. So, they began to talk about how they were holding up in this part of the test until they heard another trap going off, and then they immediately went out to try and fight the intruders. Okay, then just give us the Uchiha and we will let you live, one of the genin from the Sound Village told them coldly. Never, Sakura screamed out and then raced towards them without thinking about her odds, and was almost instantly caught by the only female on the other team, who smiled sadistically at her. Get ready to die, you annoying Pinky, the girl said, and then began bringing a kunai to Sakura's throat, completely intending to cut it. Course that was until she was hit by a large mass of evil chakra. So when Sakura looked up, she saw the person she loved standing where her almost killer was and cried happily, Sasuke-kun, you came to save me, she said happily through sniffling, which was completely ignored by said guy. Instead of listening to her, he beat the crap out of the team they were facing and planned on killing them until he took a look at all of the people around him. Though mainly looked at the girls and instead just told the Sound Ninja to leave and kicked them away from the area. Then he looked back at the females in the Konoha teams with a lustful look. Come with me, all of you girls, you have the honor of being the first of the many girls I will have to restore my mighty clan. He told them, and without waiting for an answer brought them all back to the tent, and put a barrio of evil chakra around it, which left the other males unable to do anything to stop the Uchiha. Yes, Sasuke finally noticed me, Sakura though happily, as she was dragged into the tent for whatever the Uchiha wanted, while the rest of them were having different thoughts. Crap, with this chakra level we probably can't beat him. Just great, not only are we going to get raped, we are also going to have to give our first time to this sleazeball. All the others were thinking, completely afraid of what was going to happen. Course what they didn't expect was Sasuke to leap at Hinata first and rip open her hoodie and shirt with a kunai, causing her to scream out in surprise and despair, which was probably heard throughout the area. But if Sasuke wanted them, then he would have to overpower them. And that was the start of their battle, as all of the male teammates were trying to get through the shield. Plus Naruto and Team Plus. When Naruto and his teammates got to where they thought the sound came and saw all of the male teammates of Konoha attacking a weird-looking mass of chakra that was dark purple, showing just how rotten the chakra was. And even though they didn't care for Konoha ninja, they still felt they had to deal with the producer of the chakra. What should we do? Naruto automatically asked Mai, seeing as he didn't want his ideas of Konoha to get in the way of the team. Well, I think we should send Yuto in to get rid of that chakra while we hold back the other teams. Sound good? Mai tells her teammates, getting two quick nods in return, and then set off to do what they were supposed to do. So Naruto soon jumped down to the ground and started writing seals in the air using chakra, completely ignoring the other genin who were getting ready to attack him as well, seeing as he trusted his teammates. What are you doing? Partia, Choji started saying until two girls got in their way. So sorry, but we can't let you attack him. But don't worry, we only want to get rid of this evil chakra. We don't have any reason to fight you guys, Mai told them honestly. You don't get it, the bastard Uchiha brought all of our female teammates in there and locked us out. I don't care what you do, just make sure you find a way to stop the bastard from doing whatever he wants to them. Kiba growled out while staring at the force field of chakra. Evil Destroyer seal was heard from Yuto, and the seals he wrote turned white and attached to the chakra chamber, which tried to cover them up. But the seals won over and made a hole in the center of the seal big enough for a man to walk through, but it was only temporary, seeing as the seal was already starting to turn purple, showing how the chakra in it was being corrupted. Still, Naruto ran through the hole without hesitation and saw a sight that made him blush and shake in rage. When Naruto entered the zone, he saw that Sasuke had just finished ripping all of the girls' clothing and was about ready to rape them all when he finally noticed the newcomer in his area. What the hell are you doing here? Sasuke angrily asked Naruto. Don't worry about how I got here, just know that I am going to kick you for trying to rape these girls. Naruto growled at him, realizing enough ki that everyone in the area had a shiver of fear run down their spines. Course Sasuke seemed to be able to ignore it and just started laughing while still showing just how much evil chakra he still was using to subdue all of the girls in what looked to be chakra whips. Whips that were tied around their hands and feet. Ha! You think you can beat me? Not only am I an Uchiha, but this chakra makes me invincible. Now die, Sasuke told him angrily and then lunged at him. Course Naruto expected that and quickly dogged Sasuke's fist and attached an evil containment seal onto his back and let him pass by. The seal worked immediately and got rid of all of the putrid chakra in a matter of seconds. Which of course freed the girls and opened up the chakra field. Course the guys were still being held back by Naruto's team just in case, so instead the girls in the zone got out of their shock and began to beat up the Uchiha as punishment for being a pervert. Well, all of them except Sakura, who seemed to still be in a fantasy of some sort. Course they only beat him up for a few moments until Naruto gave the boy a little bit of mercy by kicking him out of the tree, into another tree's trunk, hard, putting him in a near-death state. So with Sasuke taken care of, Naruto looked over to the girls and blushed again when he saw them. Sorry about taking away your prey. I will send my teammates in to see if they can help you with all of your predicaments. Naruto told them and then began to walk away. What, not feeling perverted today? Hinata asked angrily, remembering that he already had more than one girlfriend. Course Naruto just stopped walking for a moment and without turning around responded to the still irate girl. I understand why you feel that way, but I am not a pervert. I only date the girls that accept my unique situation and still love me. If you feel I am lying, then so be it, but I tell the truth. And then he continued walking to his teammates. When Naruto got outside, he saw everyone at a standstill. So, he walked over to his girlfriends, who both seemed happy to see him again. Hey Mai, Narumi the Uchiha was the source of the bad chakra. Oh, and there are a few girls that could use your help in there. I suggest you go. I will hold off the Konoha shinobi. Naruto whispered to them and then sat down next to the tree and started shining his sword. Plus Konoha's Genin's POV plus. All of the Genin were confused what to do when they heard a girl scream in the barrier. They knew they had to get in there. Course anything they tried failed and they were running out of ideas and were about to all try using their strongest move when two girls jumped in their way stopping them. After they saw the girls they saw the white fox jump down as well, right a few seals in the air somehow and then jumped into the portal. Course they were all surprised by that and then were even more surprised that the chakra soon went away and Sasuke flew out hitting a nearby tree. Though that didn't matter to them all that much, instead they looked the blonde now walking out of the trees as well. They all prepped for a fight but he just quickly talked to what could only be his team for a bit and then the two girls went into the tree fort as well. Course they felt they should now be able to get to their teammates so they all got a bit happier. Good that shield is gone now, let's go see how our teammates are doing, Kiba said happily and started walking towards the tree until a kunai landed in the ground right in front of him. Wait, what the hell do you think you are doing, bastard? Kiba yelled at the blonde who was sitting down on the stone. You will not be welcome in there right now. The blonde said simply, then went back to shining his sword. Bah, they are Konoha genin, you don't know anything about them, so get out of our way. Or we will make you, Kiba told him, getting even more angry. Course he was surprised that it was one of his friends who talked next. Kiba, perhaps you should be more careful, we have no idea what these guys are capable of. In fact, we only know that he is very good at fuinjutsu. I don't think we should rush into battle stupidly. Shino told his friend who was about to respond until they heard the blonde again. Very smart, bug user. I thought I sensed something moving about the room and apparently it was your idea. Smart, real smart. But anyways, even though I think my teammates were already told you this, but we have already got what we need for this test and mean you no harm. Even if I don't really like Konoha for my own reasons. Still, just give them 10 minutes and I am sure that they will all come out. But if you try and go in, I will have no choice but to stop you, the white fox told, acting like he was talking about something unimportant. Even if he doesn't say it threateningly, he still sounds completely serious. All of the genin though, as they looked at the man with a little bit of fear. So, it was a standstill with neither side wanting to move first. Plus girls plus. Gah, I don't believe what that Tem was trying to do with us. That is why it to be a girl in this world. Ah, well, what are we going to do, because I am so not wearing this destroyed piece in front of any of those guys. An angry Ino complained until they all heard someone entering the tree tent. Who are you? Narumi asks, hoping it wasn't one of their friends. Calm down, it is Yuto's female teammates. He told us you might need some help here. Oh, I see why he was embarrassed. Mai said as they got a good look at them. Then they started unsealing clothing for the girls from seals they asked Naruto to put on them. Oh, thank you, Mai-chan, Megumi-chan. But tell me, where did you guys get those seals? I mean, seal masters are really rare. Hinata asked, truly curious as she put on the new set of cloths. Oh, well, Naruto is pretty good at seals, so he put them on us. Megumi said, then silently berated herself for nearly saying Naruto. Oh, wait, about him, why do you both want to date a pervert like him anyways? I mean, you two are both pretty enough to get a better man than that. Tenten asked, then was surprised by a large amount of ki coming from the two girls. She asked. Never say that about Naruto-kun. We liked him before he was even forced to get CRA placed upon him. Besides, he is a good man, I mean, he always is helpful for everyone he meets. I mean, he has to be one of the most kind people that are on the market. For example, he helped us in the rebellion even when he didn't have to. Besides, we asked him not the other way around and he even told us about it before he accepted. So never say he is a pervert. I mean, if he was, you think he would have just gawked at you instead of getting us to come in here instead. Megumi angrily said, then calmed herself down, figuring they asked due to ignorance. She has a point, he didn't stare at us at all. I guess he might not be, but I still am keeping an eye on him. Wait, did she just say he helped in the rebellion when he didn't need to? Does that mean he wasn't from the mist originally? All of the Konoha girls there though except Narumi added the last sentence. Course before she could ask about it they all were changed and walked out to see the guys looking ready to kill each other. What is going on here? Narumi asked all of them, trying to figure out why they were so mad at each other. Well, we are just trying to get by this bastard to go see our teammates who were just brought in there for who knows what by Sasuke Tem. Kiba said, annoyed with the blonde who still seemed calm as ever. Well, it is a good thing he did, because if you came in we would have had to punish you, Hinata told him, with all of the girls nodding their heads in agreement. Damn it, he was actually right. Oh well, I still won't say anything to him. I don't trust him at all, but his smell, it seems kinda familiar. I mean, it wasn't from any time in the present, but I think I have smelled it far before when I first met him. Must be my imagination. Kiba thought right after Narumi snapped at him. Okay then team, let's head to the tower now, Mai said, hoping to get out of the forest already. Course her teammates wanted to do the same thing, so they said goodbye to the Konoha ninja and ran to the center. Plus tower plus. We finally made it, Naruto said happily as they walked leisurely into the place. Course they quickly opened the scrolls, saw the seals, and threw them to the floor to see a large amount of smoke come from them. Then all of a sudden they see the second exam proctor standing on their scrolls. Congrats on coming here, Gakis. Now you just have to wait in here until it is time to go to the third round, she said simply, then left the team just as fast. Oh okay, who is up for finding the mess hall? Naruto said when they all heard his stomach growl. Which of course made his girlfriends laugh a bit, then walk with him hoping to find food, seeing as they were a bit hungry as well. Plus third exam start plus. All teams there are the same except for Naruto's team, who is also there, just not the same as anime. Okay Gakis, you did good getting here. And I must say I am surprised how many of you made it here, and I would like to tell you to be happy that you made it to the third part of the exam, Anko said, then paused for a moment, then continued. But, seeing as there are so many of you, we must hold a pretest to get rid of some of you. So, with that said, let the second part of the second exam begin. Anko finished happily, which gained a completely different reaction from the genin. Which was simply being almost every single one of them there screaming out, "What?